We are Sally and Ed, and this is our 2015 Mercedes Sprinter Tofu. It's always been one of our dreams to road trip the big lap of Australia. So a couple of months ago, we made the crazy decision to buy a cargo van and attempt to convert it into a camper van ourselves. As we are both novice builders, this journey so far has been challenging, but also super rewarding. It works!
Pretty happy? Pretty happy with that.
We installed a fan that works.
Nailed it.
In the last episode, we started to build a headliner shelf as we thought it would be an easy carpentry task to begin with. Little did we know that this task would end up taking almost 2 weeks.
How do you even get this thing in?
I actually don't think when we started building the shelf yesterday that we'd realized just how many steps it was going to take to build this shelf. Now I know that there are going to be plenty of other things we build in this van that are going to take ages. I think we just kind of felt like the shelf was something super easy to begin with, something to kind of like ease us into building and woodwork and carpentry. But wow, it is like 36 hours later and we are still building this shelf. At one point we actually thought, is this shelf worth building? We were getting overwhelmed, we were getting like stressed out. And you know when you're like trying to do something and you're really trying to do it and it's just not working and you're getting frustrated, and like the more you try to do it, the less it works, so you get more frustrated and it's just like this downward spiral, slippery slope. And I feel like that's where we were. And at one point we really did think like, oh, do we even need this shelf?
Side, yeah. No, because it's not going to fit. These things are not easy to get out. So when you guys last saw us, we were on our way to Spotlight to pick up some fabric so that we could wrap the headliner shelf. Now we did really want to get as close a grey as possible to this internal cab area so that the shelf looks like it was meant to be here.
When we first started making it, it was just made of plywood and that's not very attractive. We kind of wanted to make it look as though it came with the van and it wasn't just like some random extra that we'd thrown in there. We really tried to match the color as best as possible. But of course, with that being so strict about what kind of fabric we were going to use and what color it was going to be, that of course meant that we were really limited to whatever supply was available. It did mean that when we went to Spotlight, they didn't have any fabric in stock that was suitable. So what we ended up doing was ordering this fabric here online. But that of course meant that it was going to be a little bit delayed in getting to us, which meant our shelf was now going to take even longer to build than we had anticipated. Hey guys, it finally arrived. It's here. Our carpet finally arrived. It's here, which means a week later, 10 days later, I don't even know what day we're on now, but we can finally finish our headliner shelf. I am so excited. It's gonna be done. What a project. Who knew when we started this project that 10 days later we would still be working on this project? But there you go, let's do it!
So once the fabric did arrive, we were able to then just trace a template of the shelf that we'd already built. We just laid it on top, traced around it, and then used some Sika spray fix to just attach it really firmly to the wood. And the Sika spray fix works really well. You know, it's stuck on there pretty firmly. So I think it was like a really good choice of adhesive.
As you can see, we've got one bit that is already glued down. This Sika spray adhesive stuff is so good. And we've been using our rollers to basically roll out any of the air bubbles. Now, if you guys watched our sound dampening video, you would have seen we use these rollers to do our sound dampening as well. If you haven't checked out our sound dampening video, guys, go and check that one out. And yeah, let us know what you think.
So when we were putting the carpet onto our shelf, we did cut a bunch of little slits down it, which meant we were able to just fold the carpet over really neatly and tightly, and we're able to get into all the gaps and crevices, and that way we didn't end up with like little bunches like this around the corners. By cutting little slits in the carpet, it meant we could get it down in there really nice and tight. nearly finished the first layer. So we've basically taken one big piece of felt and used that to do the underside, which everyone's going to see. And we wanted that to be all in one piece.
Yeah.
And then the top, that's going to be hidden where we're going to be putting our storage, we're going to use two pieces. So everything's just going to be covered over, and then we'll put one nice bit down to finish it off, so it's got a good finish.
So this rectangle should fit in here, right?
Should.
Hey! Like a beautiful glove. And I can't believe I'm about to say this, but that is going to be the headliner shelf carpeted and almost done.
It's not done, it's almost done.
It's almost done.
And honestly, we started this project because we're like, oh, we'll pick something nice and easy, something quick we can just knock out today. And now, like 10 days later, we're still not even finished.
Shake, 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 shake.
Right, here we go.
Carpeted?
It is
Beautiful!
done. So it does look a little bit messy on the top, but this is what people are gonna see. So it's gonna look like this above our heads.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful.
So I think it looks pretty good. For the first shelf we've ever built, 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10. The moment of truth. Seeing if the shelf's gonna go in.
And at the moment, it's not.
Hey, look at that color match. It ain't perfect, but it's pretty dang close.
After we covered the shelf, I also went through and spray painted these brackets, which meant that everything was all grey and nice and uniform. And now you can see that, like, there's some slight differences in the greys, but for the most part, the headliner shelf actually really looks like it fits. One really good tip I got off another YouTube video was to use the existing fixing points. So I got the brackets that we made and just shoved them down in behind the existing coat hook, which meant that I didn't need to drill any more extra holes into the frames. And then we attached it up here as well behind the visor. So there were already a bunch of pre-existing fixing points, which meant that we didn't need to do any extra work. So definitely watch a bunch of different videos before you try and install it, because there are so many great tips out there.
Look at these brackets that Ed made and painted. Don't they look beautiful? Comment down below if you think these brackets are beautiful. Yay! The first thing we gotta do is these visors that we took down from the top here. We gotta figure out how to put those back up. And I'm not gonna lie, they were pretty annoying to get off. So.
Yes, I think we need the long screws.
This?
I guess, yeah. They all kind of look the same. That's not good. Uh-oh. I hope they're interchangeable.
We're screwing it in! It's happening!
Here we go.
I did it.
Nailed it.
I nailed it with a nail.
It's a screw.
It's the same thing.
It is in. Look at all of this extra storage space. It's in. We've just put bolts here. We've put a bolt here. The visors are back in, and we're all good.
So if you guys follow us on Instagram, then you would have seen the hilarious stories of us basically fumbling our way through building this shelf, and also just going through like the struggle and like the real emotion of trying to build it not working, then going to get the fabric and being so excited that we could like get it done and we could have this first big like woodworking task done. And then you know, just struggling a lot. You would have seen it. Anyway, it's hilarious. Like in hindsight, it's pretty hilarious. Looking back on it now, it's really funny. And I think if we were to build this shelf again, I really don't think that we would have struggled so much. But I just think it's because it was like our first like carpentry project. I think that it was overwhelming, and I think that we just like stressed ourselves out way more than we needed to. And from here on in, things have been a little bit easier for us. Are you glad we built it?
Yeah, I'm so glad that we built the shelf. Like Sally said, it was a little bit more like finicky than I thought it would be, but like now that it's done, it looks great. And a few people, I don't know whether they're just being nice, but a number of people have said, oh, it looks like it came as part of the van. So I think they're just being nice. But
if you look at it from here, it totally does really, I mean, it's not 100% perfect, but it really does match. Did it come with the van? Or did we build it? I don't know. I'll never tell. So in the next episode, what are we gonna be doing?
We're gonna be starting the installation process in our van. This is gonna be a bit of like a multi-stage process, I think, because first of all, we don't have everything we need just yet, but...
Of course we don't, why would we?
Why would we? So this is gonna be a bit of a multi-stage process. We're using a few different types of installations for different purposes, but in the next video, we're going to be insulating the major panels on our walls using PIR insulation, which we got from Pricewise.
So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're subscribed, smash that like button, and guys, we'll see you in the next video.